All right. Well, we are at the top of the hour. We'll give it maybe about a minute or so. That way, it looks like people are still trickling in. Give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen and you can hear me okay. Awesome. Perfect. Well, we will get started then. So thank you all for joining us today for today's webinar hosted by True Work Logistics. So today we're going to actually be discussing how to run a successful remote workforce. So raise your hands or chime in the chat if you really want to understand how to run a successful remote workforce. I think we all do, right? Yeah, absolutely. So just to kind of give you a little background on myself, just in case you guys don't know who I am, my name is Joni Wolfswinkel, and I actually started my journey in real estate when I was 19 years old. I was, my husband and I were actually buying and selling properties while we were going to college, flipping homes. That's really what got us through college. And then in about 2008, we had a good run there. And in about 2008, that's when the market kind of started to shift a little bit. And so we had one of those, oh crap moments, like, what are you guys going to do for the rest of your life kind of thing, right? And so we panicked a little bit. And at the time, we had about 15 to 20 rental or properties on the market that couldn't sell. And so we were forced to become landlords overnight. We decided, you know what, let's go ahead and put tenants in all these properties. At least the properties will be performing, taxes, insurance, all that will be paid for, right? Because we kind of freaked out a little bit. But then as we rented these properties, we realized, oh man, like, well, the flip business was our cash business. And so what were we going to do, right? And so we decided to go ahead and transition our model and sell to investors, sell our properties to investors who understood the market, understood that real estate would eventually come back, that kind of thing. And turns out worked out really well. And our investors actually needed somebody to professionally manage their properties. And so that's how we started our property management company in Houston. About 5 years later, we ended up starting another property management company in Albuquerque, New Mexico, because we knew that market really well. And we decided, let's go ahead and jump right in. So started from scratch, no doors under management, and quickly kind of vamped up our business, right? And right about the 200 to 300 door mark, we kind of hit a plateau. We were like, oh man, like what happened? We were really growing. What happened, right? So I had a coach and a mastermind that I was in, and I remember my coach coming to visit me on-site visit, and he's kind of shadowing me around to see like, okay, what is she doing? What is Sean doing, right? And at the end of it, he says, Joni, you know what? He said, you know why you're not growing your company? And I said, no, tell me why. He said, well, you are too busy stuck in the weeds of things. He saw that people are coming in and out of my office all day long. Maybe some of you feel like that today, right? Or answering phones nonstop, answering questions, putting out fires left and right. And he's like, you are never going to be able to grow and scale your business with you doing everything. And I kind of had to sit back a little bit and think, you know what? Maybe he's right. And so I took his advice. He said, he's like, I need you to hire somebody to help you. So at the time, I was like, well, I didn't want to spend a whole bunch of money hiring somebody in-house. And so I heard the virtual assistant model. And so I said, you know what, let's go ahead and give it a try. So hired my first VA, and it's amazing when you find the right person for the right seat, right? Amazing things happen. She was actually taking things off my plate, and I was able to focus my time and energy on things that really mattered in my business. My unique ability was in sales, building relationships with people. And so that allowed me to really kind of focus on that while my VA focused on the back end stuff. And then surprisingly, my business started to grow again because I was focusing on what I was good at. Long story short, we decided, you know what, this is working out really well. I want to bring this into my entire company, and I want to have the VAs kind of help with the in-house employees as well. And so now, as you can see, I run 5 companies, and the beauty of it all is that Yes, I kind of manage and lead the 5 companies along with my leadership team, but I'm not doing the day to day. So if I need to take off a week, I am able to do that, right? And so today, my hope today is that I give you some tips and tricks that could really help you and maybe think differently. So that way, when you do hire that first VA, or maybe you've already hired a VA and you're looking at maybe streamlining some processes or being more efficient with your VA, you can take these tools to help you in your business. Okay, how does that sound? Awesome. So we'll get started with just asking yourselves a few questions like, why are you here today, right? So some of you may be having trouble hiring, right, for the first time. I know when I started hiring my first employee, like bringing in-house people in, it was tough, right? And you hire somebody and then 3, 4 months down the road, they quit. Then you're starting back at stage one, right? Maybe you would like to get better at hiring, whether in-house or remotely, right? And just having the stability within your company so your employees are with you for a longer period of time, right? That's how they grow. That's how they get bought into your company. Really, guys, what I realized building my business is, yes, I am the visionary of my companies, right? I come up with the ideas just like you guys. I'm sure many of you guys are the visionaries of your company. But guys, it's one thing to have an idea, but then it's another thing to execute those ideas. In order for you to execute, you have to have a team. Again, amazing things happen when you have a team that is aligned with your goals and are going for the same things in the same direction, right? So kind of my why for hosting this webinar today. Well, I understand many of you guys are in property management. I see that. And, there's a lot of moving parts in our business, right? And a lot of us face these pain points in our business, and we can't seem to figure out how to get away or step away so that you can grow your business. And I will tell you that today we're going to cover maybe some of the pain points that you're facing. Maybe you just want to keep more money in your pocket, right? Instead of paying it out to in-house employees, because that can get costly. And so my why for today is because I want to give back to you guys, understand like how amazing things can happen when you just get out of your own way and let some of your team handle some of the things. Okay. So today's agenda, we're going to be talking about tools for communication and collaboration. So for example, Slack, Zoom, Asana, Microsoft Teams. A lot of my companies that I work with use Microsoft Teams. It's amazing. They have task management systems in there, that sort of thing. We're going to talk about having clear policies and guidelines, right? Working hours, communication protocols, onboarding process. We're going to talk about that. And then lastly, we're going to talk about building a thriving culture with both on-site and remote employees, okay? So first, I want to talk to you about the mindset shift, okay? Because the biggest mistake that I see property managers or just any business owner for that matter make is that they can't seem to get out of the weeds, okay? As entrepreneurs, we think that we have to do everything ourselves. Why is that? Put in the chat why you think we have to do everything ourselves. Maybe fear of letting go, right? Or maybe not wanting to spend the time to train this person. Or my favorite, I can do it better than everybody else. So why am I going to give that away, right? Raise your hand. We all face this, right? We all are thinking this, guys. But I'm going to tell you now that you will never be able to grow and scale your business with you thinking that way. Okay. So it starts with the mindset. You have to have the right mindset to be able to say, you know what? Yes, I understand. I am not the smart. Hey, I am not the smartest in my company. I hire smart people to do the job, right? And that's the key there. You don't have to be the smartest. You don't have to know everything, and you don't want to know everything. Really, you want to focus on what you're good at. And really, in reality, you need to think about, okay, what is my skill set? What is my unique ability? Okay. If you don't know what your unique ability is, That's something that you really need to figure out. What are you passionate about when you're working, right? Again, mine, I knew right out of the gate, it's sales. I love building relationship with people. That's where I need to be. Everything else should be delegated to somebody else. Okay. Now, learning to delegate, yes, I get it. It is tough. We all have problems delegating, right? But delegating really tells your teams that you trust them, right? That you trust them, that you can let them handle things. Okay. Again, delegating also allows you to be able to do things in your business that you need to take care of. That's going to move the needle. Okay. And so delegation really is the first step, I believe, to being able to grow and scaling your business. Once you can figure out how to delegate, everything becomes easy. Now you're thinking about, okay, who do I need to do this job, task, or whatever it is, instead of how am I going to get it done, right? There's only so many hours in the day that you can handle that. Now, once you figure out how to delegate, you just figure out who needs to be doing this, who needs to handle this, okay? So I want to say about 6 or 7 years ago, one of my coaches said, you know what, why don't you do a 2-week time study and really write down everything that you do in your business from the time that from the time that you get up until the time that you go to sleep. Okay. Just a diary or journal logging everything that you do. And then at the end of the 2 weeks, go back there and say, okay, what are some things on this list that I can immediately delegate off my plate? Okay. So I encourage you guys to do that 2-week time study. It is amazing what you find. You probably think right now that you are so busy, right? In your day-to-day, like things are crazy busy. Yes, you're busy, but are you busy doing the right things, right? And those things off that list, I want to encourage you to say, okay, what can I delegate immediately off my plate? Okay. And that's really where you want to start. A lot of people come to me and say, you know what, Joni, I don't even know where to start. Like, who do I hire? What do I hire for? Right. Well, that is really the first step right there. Is I hired a lot of executive assistants to begin with, and that's okay. They are there to help you take stuff off your plate. And so I encourage you guys to do that 2-week time study. You'll be amazed. I was probably about 90% of what I did day to day was not productive. It is eye-opening, right? Emails, phone calls, putting out fires here left and right. Nothing that actually grew the business. Okay. If that doesn't change your mindset, I don't know what will. So, how to find the right virtual assistant? So we're going to talk a lot about finding the right person for the right seat. Okay. Somebody that has maybe relevant experience. Okay. Even communication skills, right? Somebody's got to have good communication skills, accurate job descriptions, and the right culture fit. So these are the things that you want to look for when you're hiring a virtual assistant. But the two that I feel that are really, really important are the right person for the right seat. Why? Because I talk to so many business owners where they say, you know what, so-and-so is not working out in the sales department. Then I dig deeper into what their skill set is. Maybe they don't like people. Do you think they're in the right seat? Probably not, right? If you're a salesperson, you got to like to build relationships and like people enough, right? And so we need to find that out. Oftentimes business owners are hiring because they like the person, okay? No more you're going to hire just to like the person. They have to fit the right person for that right seat, okay? And then the right culture fit as well. Guys, the quicker that you can emerge your remote team member or whoever into your culture, they're going to stay with you as long as possible, right? And so those two to me are the most important, okay? Now, it starts with finding the right person for the right seat. Okay. So many of you have maybe heard of a DISC assessment, or maybe, so we use what's called the predictive index. Okay. And so it's kind of like a cognitive test. It tells us how the remote team member or the candidate works in their environment, what their skill sets are. And so it really helps us determine if they are the right person for that right seat, right? And so that is the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to give them a disc assessment and kind of see, where they stand. So if we're looking for a salesperson, maybe a BDM assistant, which is a business development assistant, I know that they have to take initiative. I know that they, have to have some people skills. They're probably going to be a high D, right? They're driven people. So those are the things that I'm looking for. Okay. Same thing with the DISC assessment. It's very similar to that if you're familiar with the DISC assessment. So this is kind of an example of what the predictive index looks like for a leasing coordinator. Okay, so a leasing coordinator, yes, they actually have to be precise, right? Because they're screening applicants maybe and making sure they're finding the right candidate to lease the property. Maybe they're looking to make sure that the applicant isn't submitting fraudulent documents, those sorts of things. So they really have to be precise in that. Okay, so those are the things that we look for. This is kind of what this looks like. And so anytime you come to us and you're hiring a remote team member and say you are looking for a leasing coordinator, I'm going to give you the predictive index so you can see exactly what this candidate looks like even before you interview them. Okay. And this is just another example of that. So onboarding. So onboarding is the next thing that I really want to talk about because it is also extremely important. Onboarding your employees is just like onboarding your new clients, right? When you onboard a new client, what you're doing is trying to set that expectation up front and you're trying to win them over, right? And so you want to make sure that your service is absolutely remarkable, right? Otherwise, they think, oh man, did I make that right decision on, coming with your company, right? Same thing with your employees and your remote team members. You have to set that expectation up front from the very beginning, okay? So when should the onboarding start? Guys, the onboarding should start the minute that they sign that job offer, okay? Maybe you're sending them an email or a video saying, hey, welcome to Real Property Management. We are so glad to have you a part of our team, right? And maybe even sending up a follow-up, a questionnaire. That's what we do, of some things that they're interested, maybe their favorite foods, their favorite hobbies, because you want to get to know them as quickly as possible. Our onboarding, guys, is really the key to making this work, okay? Because within 30 days, they're going to know, man, did I make this right decision and hire on with this company? Or did I make a bad decision? They don't even care that I'm here. Nobody's even talked to me for 5 days, right? And so it's important that you really, really focus on the onboarding process if you want to be successful in this, guys, okay? And it doesn't matter if it's an in-house employee or if it's a remote team member. This is extremely important. So the other tips that I want to share with you is, number one, cross-training, okay? So you should have a detailed plan, a detailed training plan when your employee starts, okay? Who will they be training with? What departments will they be training in? You want them to cross-train in every department so they know how the business works, right? Because their job is going to be crucial for, somebody else's job as well, right? And so you want to make sure that they understand how it all works. Hosting lunch and learns. This should be consistent, guys. You should do this a minimum of once a month. We do it bi-weekly. Sometimes we're doing, customer service workshops. Sometimes we are training on our Lead Simple process. Always be training. That will never stop, okay? And creating a playbook. So each department, you should have a detailed playbook so that they can refer back to, okay? Whether it's a manual that you have or if it's a video, we do both. We have it, an actual playbook. So we give to them, we email that to them, so they have a detailed playbook, but then we also have it on video as well. So they can refer back if they have any questions on what their job really is, okay? Tracking KPIs. If you don't have KPIs, I highly recommend that you sit down and write down what are the most important KPIs that I need my remote team members or my in-house employees to track. And we can help you with that. So if you need help with that, let us know. We will help you. Okay. And then follow up frequently. Guys, I cannot stress this enough. You should be following up with your remote team member. You should meet with them daily. I always say, meet with them at the very beginning of the day for 15 minutes. What you can do is go over priorities. You can go over stucks maybe from the day before. Really, really, you want to focus the time and energy, even if it's for a little while, okay? These guys aren't plug and play. So it's not like you're going to plug them in and they're going to miraculously know what to do, right? You have to spend time with them. Okay. Setting clear expectations and goals, performance management. Now, I know a lot of us don't like to talk about the accountability part. This is actually really hard for a lot of us entrepreneurs, right? To hold our people accountable. But I'm telling you, if that you do it right and you set those clear expectations up front, the performance management piece comes a lot simpler. Okay. So the first thing is you want to do is you want to have a detailed job description. Okay. You got to know what these employees are going to be doing, right? They can't just go walk in at day one and you don't have anything for them. Having a detailed job description will tell them, okay, this is what I'm going to be doing day to day. All right. And yeah, we may add to that job description, but at least they have something going in, knowing that this is what they're going to be doing day to day. Okay. So many times I get business owners come to me, they're like, hey, well, I had a review with so-and-so and they had no clue what their job function was supposed to do. I'm like, well, did you do a job description? No, I kind of just met with them and told them what I expected of them, but there was no job description. Okay. And then on that job description, you can create a section on there of goals. What do you want them to accomplish in, say, 30 days, 60 days, and 90 days? Okay. And so you want to do that because when you do meet with them frequently, you want to review those goals. Are we meeting those goals? What do we need to do to meet our goals? Okay. So this is example of a job description. And guys, if you guys need assistance with creating a job description for a certain role, let us know. We have them all. We help all of our clients create these because I get it. I used to be in that seat where I had no clue. I was just writing down tasks that I wanted them to do, right? But this is an example of a job description, okay? This is a leasing coordinator job description. And it basically just lists out the duties that we're gonna have them do, right? So let's talk about developing our remote team members. All right. So my favorite thing to do is I love to do our 30-day, 60-day, and our 90-day reviews. Why do we do that? Because we want to make sure that our employees or our remote team members, they're progressing with our company, right? Because at the end of the day, after 90 days, if they are not, are we going to keep them? No, we shouldn't, right? If they are not working out, we should not keep them, guys. That's why it's so important to do the 30, 60, 90-day reviews, your quarterly reviews, and then also your annually reviews, right? Because they may start out strong. They may be working out for the first 90 days. Give them a quarter. Let's see what they're doing, right? Let's create new goals. After a year, let's see how they're doing, right? Making sure that they're progressing. Okay. So guys, don't skip that step. Okay. We use a software monitoring system called Hubstaff. So for those of you that are like, well, man, how do I make sure that my remote team member is working? Well, you don't have to worry about that. We manage it, the Hubstaff, to make sure that they are working. However, I will say that you will know if they're not doing their job. If you are doing the performance management, right? The 30, 60, 90 days, if you're meeting with them regularly, and if you have KPIs, if they're not hitting their KPIs, guess what? They're probably not working, right? But that is there for you in case you guys want that. Okay. And then the last thing is showing gratitude for bonuses for a good, performance, right? So our company, what we like to do is that it's based on our KPIs. So Our remote team members and our in-house employees, we give them anywhere from 1 to 2% in bonus at the end of the quarter, depending how well they do. If they hit their KPI numbers, great, we're giving them a bonus, okay? Because we want them to be rewarded for a job well done, okay? Same thing with reviews. We give our remote team members $25 for each review that they get. That is a whole lot, like a lot of money for remote team members. We have some remote team members that do way over their salary amount just in bonuses. But hey, I'm okay with that because why? Because they're doing a good job and they're helping my company grow, right? We are over just about 2,000 reviews in Houston. And in our Albuquerque market, I think we're close to about 1,000. Okay. So and there's times where I have clients calling, they're like, I don't even need to, I saw your reviews, I'm ready to sign. Okay. So those matter, right? So reward your people for that. Training, and more training. I said this before, guys, and I'm going to say it again, that you can never stop training, okay? You always have to make sure that you have this, whether it's cross-training, whether it's hosting lunch and learns, creating that playbook that I mentioned, follow up frequently. I love to do one-on-ones with my staff, okay? Why? Because it gives that time for me to interact with them on a one-on-one basis, but say, hey, how's it going? What is your stress level, We want to know that as well, okay? Because we don't want to be sidelined at the end of the day where we had no clue that this person was overstretched. Maybe we were giving them a bunch of work, right? And they didn't say anything and now they're quitting, okay? So it's important. I've had so many of my remote team members say, Joni, thank you for taking that extra time to spend with me. I really appreciate you, just the time that you were spending with me so that I can pick your brain a little bit, so I can understand what you want, but also allows us to understand them as well, right? So how to manage your virtual assistant. First thing here is develop the right team and the right culture. Okay. So again, right person, right seat. We're making sure that we have that person that fits what we're looking for. Okay. And you're merging them into your company culture as quickly as possible. Okay. So if you are a company that loves to, grow together, read books, and that's where your culture is, you want to merge them into that as quickly as possible. All the books that we have a book club. And so anytime a new employee starts with us, a remote team member, we're giving them our books. We're giving our like 3 or 4 favorite books and said, hey, this is for you, right? Because we want them to grow with us as well. Okay. Meet regularly, whether it's at the very beginning of the day. I would recommend very beginning of the day and at the end of the day. Okay. And you want to create leaders, not managers, okay? Because at the end of the day, we want them to grow with us so that they grow into a leadership role. I just hired a pod lead in my Albuquerque office who is a remote team member. Why? We were able to build him up step by step, right? And now he is leading people. That's what you want, guys. Get to know your entire team, okay? And provide feedback. Again, those 30, 60, 90-day reviews, the quarterly reviews, and the annual reviews, that's a way for you to sit back and meet with them to see how they're doing, okay? Provide feedback, but also not just provide the feedback, guys. You want to get their feedback as well, right? We have idea books in our company. And so I give idea books to our company, and so they can write down their ideas. I want to hear from them. They're the ones that are doing the day-to-day, not us. They're the ones that are in the trenches. So get their feedback, what is working, what is not, so you can change things if things aren't working, right? Your company is going to look very different at 50 doors from where my company is now at 2,300 doors. It looks a whole lot different, okay? And a lot of the ideas come from our staff, come from our remote team members. Be open to that, guys. Again, we don't have to be the ones to know everything, right? So track progress and performance reviews. So again, we have hub staff as our time tracking, regular check-ins, huddles. If you guys aren't doing huddles, morning huddles, highly recommend that you do that. When I got started, we actually did morning huddles with our entire organization. So our entire organization would huddle in for 15 minutes a day. And really what we go over is we go over good news. We go over stucks for the day. Maybe we do some cheers for peers and we end with a cheer, right? Again, it's a way for me to interact with my team because I'm not seeing them all the time. So I want to have that time, that extra special time with them. That 15 minutes is probably the most important 15 minutes of my day. Okay. But as we grew in scale, we realized, man, this is getting large. There's like 60 people on the morning huddle, and some of them do get shy to open up, right? And so what we have done now, again, as we've grown in scale, is we are doing huddles based on the pod. So we have a pod, or they're set up in pods. And so each pod will have their morning huddles. And it's a way for them to get out of their shell, tell us what their good news is, tell us how their life is. You know, we want to get to know them also. And then you're still spending that time with them. Okay. Customer service workshops. We do our customer service workshops bi-weekly. And we invite our remote, everybody's involved in this, our in-house staff and our remote team members. And that's another point I want to make, okay? So if you have in-house staff and you have remote team members, you want to make sure that you are doing things so that way both the in-house employees and the remote employees can both get involved, okay? So we do a lot of Zoom meetings, team meetings, right? Because we want everybody in those meetings, okay? And so oftentimes when we have our customer service workshop, we're reading books together. We are, you know, maybe we are listening to a call together and praising the person that had an amazing call, right? Some things that they did really well at. Maybe some things that we can work on our customer service, okay? Department meetings. Those department meetings should actually be done once a week. Is anyone in here actually doing EOS or EOS implementer? Have they? I highly recommend that you read the book Traction, okay? Because we live by our level 10 meetings. And what's cool is that they are a time meeting. So our department meetings are handling the level 10 meetings and our leadership teams are having the level 10 meetings, but it's a time meeting. And so we are going over the important stuff. So it's not like we have a meeting and not have an agenda. We have an agenda. We're making sure that we are hitting our rocks, okay? Whether it's our leadership team or whether it's our mid-level managers. We are making sure that all of our meetings are facilitated correctly, okay? KPIs, we talked about that, all right? Email response times, work order turnaround time. These are all the things that we want to look at, right? So this is just an example of a performance review, okay? So you're going to do this again, 30, 60, 90 days, quarterly, and then annually, okay? If you guys need help creating this, this performance review, let me know. Happy to send you my template, okay? And what you should do is you should also have, whether the remote team member or the in-house employee, you should have them fill it out before the review as well. Why? Is because you want to see what they're saying. Maybe they think that they're doing a fantastic job and you are like, man, like this guy needs work in this area, right? Maybe they don't know. And so we want to know what they're thinking, okay? And so that way you can match it when you meet with them. Here's an example of my KPI report. Again, if you need help with creating this, more than happy to help you out with that. As you can see, I have red, yellow, green, and super green, okay? Which do you think that we focus on the most? Who can tell me?
You focus on the green?
Red, actually. Why? because the red is where you're not performing, okay? And so we want to know, why are we not performing in these areas, right? Could it be a people problem? Could it be a process problem? Okay. If we're hitting the green every week, that means that we're doing good, right? And so we want to focus on the areas that need improvement. Okay. All right. Now I know that hiring is expensive in-house. We know that. Anybody want to take a wild guess if you hired an in-house employee today, just to say an administrative assistant, what that would cost you? Who can tell me what roughly that would cost? It's going to cost us about 60,000 a year, right? When you factor in everything, taxes, insurance, payroll costs, all of that, computer equipment, everything that you think of, even office space, right? It's going to all add up, okay? Which can be costly. What if I told you that you can hire maybe 2 to 4 VAs for the price of what you pay for one key employee? Pretty shocking, huh? What do you think you can do with an extra 2 or 3 VAs? You could probably go pretty far, right? You can focus on the areas where maybe you're weak at, or maybe, you know that you need to grow, right? Yeah. So this is just a list of things that a VA can do. And I just kind of compiled a list of a bunch of stuff. As you can see, right, there's answering calls, following up, managing the CRM system, even, in the accounting department where we're maybe entering invoices. Customer service, guys, is huge. Again, a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners, they fail at the customer service part of things because why? They are too busy stuck in the weeds of things, or they can't focus on the customer experience. Okay. Guys, if you're focusing on the customer experience, you're answering those calls, you're getting the tenants what they need, you're getting the owners what they need. Guess what? You're creating a great experience for your clients where your tenants are going to be with you longer period of time. And your owners, you're going to retain them for a longer period of time. And even better, they're going to refer their friends and family to you because you've created raving fans, right? And so in my opinion, focusing on the customer experience is probably priority in most business, or should be priority in most businesses, okay? So I want to just tell you a quick story that maybe some of you can relate to. I live in Houston. So in Houston, we know there's natural disasters all the time, right? Well, my big natural disaster was, I had many hurricanes, but this one was the first for me. Many of you guys have heard the greatest Texas freeze that happened in February of 2021, right? It was crazy. Long story short, freeze came into Houston. Literally, we could not get on the roads for, about 3 or 4 days. We had about 350 properties that had busted pipes of some sort. It was a mess. Okay. Couldn't find plumbers in town, couldn't find materials in town, right? I ended up having to actually get my plumbing company from Albuquerque, New Mexico, to come down to Houston to help us with the jobs. And then I actually had them help some of our other PM friends in Houston because we knew that they were struggling to get people. Okay. The beauty of all this, guys, is that, so not the beauty, I mean, yes, it was a crazy time, but we were at home. We had no phone, we had no internet, we had no power, nothing. My remote team members were in Mexico actually answering calls from the owners, giving them peace of mind that everything is we're taking care of everything and not to worry. Do you think that made a difference? Yeah. Even just answering that call to say, hey, we're here, right? We actually ended up getting a lot of doors from other property management companies because everybody else was just trying to figure out how to get to the office, how they can answer those calls. We had it already all figured out. In fact, the minute that the roads opened up, our remote team members were assigning work orders to our vendors to get out to the job sites right away. We were actually filing insurance claims right away, so that way we were, getting the work started. And our remote team members facilitated all of this. Okay. We probably made more money that year in maintenance than we ever had. Why? Because we were prepared for it. Okay. So my advice to you is don't wait for the storm to pass, right? It's already, get prepared now so that way you can capitalize and maybe have your best year because you were ready, right? Most people decide to take action when the storm has already here and already passed, right? So just our simple pricing here, just so you can see that. So we have a placement fee of $7.95, and then it's $11 an hour, okay? And that $11 an hour covers everything. It covers the taxes, the benefits in their country, in Mexico. So we do everything for you, so you don't have to worry about the liability part of it. And so we can help you with that, okay? So if you have a phone, love for you to take out your phone and scan that if you haven't talked to me already. This, you can set up a call with me and we can discuss, hey, maybe you saw on today's where we want to go over a job description, or maybe you want to, create a performance review. Maybe you just want to talk to me to understand more on how you can hire the first VA, right? So whatever that is, guys, it's a free consultation. Set up a call with me. Would love to hear from you guys, okay? And we do actually have time for some questions. So if you have questions, would love to open it up to some questions. I see a few familiar faces here. Hey, Emily.
Hi there. How are you guys?
We're well. Good
Good.
to see you.
Yeah. We're pretty happy with our two VAs that we have with you guys.
Awesome. Good to
So,
hear.
yeah, they're going well. So, yeah, that 30, 60, 90, that's a really good idea. So, I'm
Yeah,
glad you
I will
talked about
send
that.
you what we have, Emily. That way if you want to use that as part of your process, you can certainly use that.
Sure, that would be great. I'd like that.
Awesome.
Um, and I think they would like it too. So,
Yeah,
thanks.
cool.
Hey, Joni, we have a few questions in the chat. Can you see?
Okay, do you want
Or,
to read
yeah.
them out?
Rosie's asking, are any of the VAs already trained in property management or softwares like Appfolio?
Ooh, good question. I love that question. And so the answer is yes. So part of what we do, so we've all of our talent, we have a talent team and they are constantly looking for talent. And so if we find talent, we're actually already bringing them in our company. And lucky for us, we have a property management company, so we can have them take live calls. We can have them, training while we have a company that's, like you guys that are looking to place, right? And so the answer is yes. They actually get about a week, even when say you decide that you want a placement, they will spend about a week with our team in training. So we will train them in Folio, whatever, software system that you're using, Lead Simple if you have Lead Simple. And they will also say that we're hiring like a BDM assistant. So they will shadow a BDM assistant, a rockstar BDM assistant. So they understand, what that job role entails, right? That just helps them as they onboard to you. They are familiar with what they're going to be doing day to day. Okay. And so, yes, we do provide training for them.
Are the VAs available as part-time or only full-time?
So they are only full-time. And the reason why is because we are a Mexico-based company, and in Mexico, we're a legitimate company, so we pay the taxes there. And so similar to the US, they actually, you know, kind of like a W-2 employee, right? They have to have full-time benefits in order, or they had to be full-time to get the full-time benefits. So they are full-time, but I will tell you, if you do your 2-week time study, I guarantee you will find plenty of work for them to do.
Here's a great question from Ray Joni. How deep can the VAs go into the business thinking about sensitive information, payments, etc.?
You know, guys, and I always say this is that you take it step by step, right? As you get more comfortable with your remote team member, you may hand them off more sensitive information. Okay. My right hand, Alondra, I didn't give her anything. I trust her fully, right? Yeah, and you're just going to put measures in there, of course, to protect yourselves. So if you do get rid of them or you have to fire them, hey, we're shutting off the system right away so they don't have access to anything. Okay. Same as an in-house employee, guys. It's no different.
I think I can answer this next question. Will we be able to get a recording of this class for later? Great class, very useful information. Thank you so much. Yes, I will post it up to our YouTube channel, and then I will send an email out to everybody in this Zoom room, so you can have that to reference later. Next question, Rosie, is there additional costs for handling bilingual calls, English, Spanish, or is that part of it? Great question.
Yeah, that is part of it, guys. And so when we hire our remote team members, communication is a big key, a big deal, right? So we're, you know, making sure that they can, you know, they're bilingual and they've got good communication skills. Okay. And you're going to see that as well when you interview them. So say that you decide that you want to go ahead and work on placing them. We're going to find about 3 to 4 different candidates that meet what we're looking for in terms of skill set, right? That predictive index. We're looking for the skill set. We're going to bring the 3 to 4 candidates to you that have good communication, but you're going to interview them just to make sure that they're going to work out for you and your team and your culture.
It is included in that cost, Rosie. It is not additional cost for a bilingual RTM. What one aspect, Joni, if I could extrapolate on one of the questions about sensitive information, one of the questions I get a lot when I'm speaking to property management company owners is you know, what about cybersecurity? I can tell you, working in this industry with you guys in the property management side as well, any of our data incursions have all been on-site employees. To this day, we haven't had one issue with an RTM and outside clicking of the spam or Trojan horse type emails or any loss of data. Even with all the hundreds and hundreds of clients that we have not experienced it. Not to say it's impossible, but we haven't experienced it. But that's a common question that comes up. I wanted to make sure we addressed on top of Ray's question. One new question from RPM Concordia. During the interview process, placement process, how do you best recommend looking for a culture fit and finding the right person for the right seat? DISC plus predictive index are great starting points, but curious if you could expand.
Yeah, so predictive index, yes, that's what we use. And honestly, so what's really cool is that Alondra, I call her the matchmaker because she truly is the matchmaker. So what she does is she has a consultation with you to really get to know you as a person. You maybe have a bigger team and maybe we're meeting with the entire team. Maybe it's just you and just you're the only person, right? So she's getting to know your style to see what's the best fit for you. Okay. And then at that point, she will bring candidates. And I always tell my clients this, hey, if Alondra tells you to interview these 3 people, interview them. There's a reason for that because she has interviewed you and knows like what you want and what you expect and what you want in your culture. She will bring and deliver that as well. Does that help? Perfect.
That's all of the chat questions, Joni.
Awesome. Well, guys, we are wrapping up the end of our webinar. So it was a pleasure seeing everybody here today. Again, reach out to me if you want to schedule a call or if you just have a question, feel free to email me. My email address is joni@trueworklogistics.com. And Brett, if you want to put that in the chat as well, feel free to do that. All right, guys. Well, you have a wonderful afternoon and we will see you soon.